Hello and welcome back to the channel. Ninja Turtle here, and I've got a new batch of customs that were recently finished, and today we're going to start off with Android 18, one of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball Z. I probably would have made her first if it wasn't for that Android 21, me really wanting to use that tail and trying something different, but I probably would have made her first if it wasn't for that. So this is the second Dragon Ball related character I've made, and she turned out decently. There were some issues, there were some experiments. In fact, the next couple of customs that I've made, I did a lot of experimenting, trying new things, using new parts that I hadn't used before, using new finish, and some of it worked out well, some of it didn't, but we'll cover that briefly later on. I don't want to spend too much time talking about all of that stuff. But I will cover what made this figure and how I came about it, so that way if you want to make yourself one of these figures, you can go and do so. We'll start at the bottom and we cover the shoes. For one real quick, I did use bigger legs on Android 18, so she is a little thick, if you understand what that means. She has thicker thighs then probably she should probably be thinner, if you're looking at like the actual anime and manga and stuff. But I didn't want every girl that I make from Dragon Ball to be super thin and skinny. I want someone to have some curves, someone to have a little bit extra thigh at least, and I think Android 18 is probably the best choice for that, because she can kind of go either way. But again, we'll get back into that. The shoes, though, these are Thena. These are from the Eternals Thena figure. These were copied and made as resin, so these are resin copies of those shoes from Thena. But that is the original figure that these shoes came from. So they're painted on the bottom. There you go. Nice focus. These little holes, or like this little ring right there, that's also resin that I cut up and made a hole of. There you go. And glued that on. And then like the straps, it's kind of hard to see. I tried my best to use two different types of brown. And they are two different types of brown between the actual boots and the strap, but you can't see it very well. It's one of the hardest things to see because the browns are very close, and I didn't think they would be so distinctively similar when I was painting them, because they don't look similar outside of the bottle, but when I painted it on, so it does have like a strap going across there, and like I said, on the bottom there, that's a different brown than what's the rest of the boot, but it's hard to tell just based off of that. So I should have gone with something even darker for the strap, or use a lighter brown for the actual boot, but ended up still looks pretty good. The lower legs are just your standard Kate Bishop style calves. It just were black already, so no need to paint much of it, but I obviously have to sand the pin down there to paint that. And then the boots are sculpted on with some epoxy sculpt, just to get that on there, and painted the brown like I said. And then all the rest of it on the legs is just not painted at all. These are black knees and thighs. I believe I used the legs from off of the X-Force Amazon Psylocke. So the knees and the thighs are from that, and just remove the flesh tone that's on the side of the thighs, and that's it. No painting, no modification outside of that. Let's see, the skirt is in fact a Moira skirt that has been slightly modified. So I do have Moira here, since I get her to stand up on her own. There we go. Quite the height difference, but yes, this skirt is the same as this one, with several modifications. So first, the belt. The belt is actually a separate belt, a loose belt that was glued onto this skirt. The belt itself is actually from the Medusa, the Walgreens Medusa figure. Removed, the little M that's on there, sanded, primed, and sanded, glued it on to the skirt, and then glued on a little bit of plastic for all of these belt hoops on here. So there's little lines right there. Those are actually little small pieces of plastic that are glued on, and then another small piece of plastic for the belt buckle, just a circular cut or oval cut, and glue that on. Then primed it, painted. It is painted on the inside, but not 100% fully, because no one's going to see that. But it is painted like up about this high on the inside. And then there's also a little hard to see as well, but the details of like the pockets, and there's actually another line there that's all plastic that I just glued on there. It still has the cut here for the articulation, just like the Moira skirt, because it's the same thing. But yeah, it works out just fine. The torso also, this all black, and that's from the Psylocke, the Amazon Psylocke. So all of that is just the same. So no painting in the inside whatsoever, and that helps a lot with paint rub and all of that stuff. The upper torso on that is just a black one from, I believe it was from the Black Invisible Woman top. I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's what it's from. And then just put some sculpt there for the shirt line, just sculpted that out, and then painted the rest flesh tone there. Actually don't need to get rid of Moira, because yes, I'm still use her, because the arms on this are the same as this Moira. So the Moira has all of this cloth sculpted on there, like you see the fabric ripples on the arms, but also you can see this texture, like the sweater texture on there. And at first I was going to sand all of that texture off and just leave the fabric ripples, but I decided, it's actually like a baseball type shirt, different sleeves and colors are different sleeves, and the sleeves are a different color than the rest of the shirt, and it would be cool to have that different fabric difference. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to see in the arm, so you can kind of make it out a little bit, but that white really covers up all of the different details that are on there. But you can still see the fabric ripples at least, but the actual texture, the sweater texture, is kind of hard to see. So maybe in the future I'll keep using these arms. It's very limited use for this, for me personally, to use these arms, and this is one of the times that I thought it would be okay, because the arms go with the chest and go with the torso, so I'd have to use like the whole thing on someone, and there's very, very few characters that I would want to use all of this on for anyone, because it's such a small body and such a specific style, whatever. But I was able to use the arms here, so all of that's good to go. As far as the jacket goes, so actually I should have grabbed the full one, oopsies, but this one's almost full. Another relatively new figure that, it's actually a very new figure. I took the jacket right off this America Chavez, the Multiverse of Madness. It's the same jacket that's on here, or on this figure, so that's why she doesn't have one. I believe I took her hands too, but I could be wrong about that. So they might be the same hands. The jacket doesn't really fit this Kate Bishop chest. It doesn't fit perfectly. It's supposed to be fitting this chest. It fits, well. This one, it just doesn't hit her chest very well, because she has a significantly bigger chest than America, so it just doesn't fit perfectly, but it still works out. I ended up cutting, as you can see here, the shoulders and all that all around the arm to give it all of that detail there. You can kind of see it, and then of course painted all the buttons and painted the Red Ribbon Army logo on the back. And before I move on, I do want to address one of the new things that I was trying to do. And like I said, I was experimenting. So she has like a fairly shiny finish to her. One of the things that if you've been watching my videos, my cable video in particular, the gun and his spear got stuck in his hand. When I was doing that video, I tried to move the spear and the paint came off, and I know exactly why that happened. It's because of this stuff. And I've been doing customs for almost 2 years now, and all of my figures for a long time I would use Mod Podge matte finish on pretty much the entire body, including the skin and hair and stuff like that, to be a finish and a sealer. It says it right there: water-based sealer, glue, and finish. I would use this pretty much on everything for the first year and year and a half, up until recently I started using an acrylic clear coat finish on skin tone because I didn't want shiny skin, and I've been loving that and been doing it since then. But I was still using this on all pieces of clothing or anything that wasn't skin, and that's what happened. This is basically glue. So on that cable one, I put this on his hands because he has blue gloves on, and then I put this on the weapon because, you know, it's just a weapon. Actually, I think I used this is matte finish. I used gloss finish on the weapon so it could be shiny, but it's still glue on glue. So once they touched, the glue basically, you know, glued itself to the hand, and the spear glued itself to each other. Long story short, it messed up, so you can watch that video if you want to see that. But me experimenting, I decided not to use this anymore, and I bought some other stuff. And this is the new stuff that I bought now. This is Mission Models, and this particular is a semi-gloss. It's also it's water-based. I believe it's acrylic as well, but I could be wrong on that. But it's still a finish, a clear coat, top coat. And I use that on everything that I painted outside of the skin. So her chest was painted a little bit black, and then all of the jacket, the arms, the skirt, and the boots, and the little bit of the lower leg, to paint some more black on that. So there's why some of that is shiny, super shiny, because this is semi-gloss. They do have a flat version. I haven't bought that yet, so I don't know how that works. This is okay so far. I still have to do a lot of experimenting with this. It's a little thick. I'm going to have to try to thin it out. It is water-based, so I can just throw some water in it. So hopefully, because when I painted on there, I was like, man, this is like almost like glue, how thick it is going on there. So I'll try to thin it out next time if I want to keep using this. But it worked out okay. It still has some issues in general with rubbing. One of the things I'm trying to do is just prevent as much paint rub as possible with the finish, and that's why I was using this, because I thought it would be a good clear coat sealer and help resistance with paint rub, and it kind of does work. But this stuff, Mod Podge in particular, when it's heated up, it will basically melt, and it'll dry again and harden, but once it's hot, it's very sticky. So putting pieces together, once they're dismantled, you got to put it back together. You got to use heat to soften the plastic to put it back together. That means this stuff is going to melt, and it causes paint rub, and it messes up everything. So I'm going to be using this a lot less now. I still want to use it on hair because it's not really going to be a problem, and I like matte finish hair. But for the most part, I have another solution, which I'll cover in the next video because I was experimenting with that as well. But that's why she's all kind of shiny like this, is because I was using this new stuff here. So we'll see how this works out in the future with more experimentation. That said, let's go on to her face. So her face is a couple of things, a handful of things. So first, her actual head is White Rabbit. You know, focus, or whatever. It's White Rabbit, same face. I did not remove the paint on her eyes at all for the White Rabbit, so it's the exact same eye color and makeup, same thing like I did with Cammy. I just painted the flesh tone around that, and painted her lips pink. And the hair is the Infinity War Black Widow with a slight modification. So I cut, because it's supposed to come down here on the side, but I cut that off so it can go back behind her ear to show her ear off. And then made some earrings, which this one I probably should have glued it flat to her side, but I was really tempted and I wanted it to show like real earrings, because actually I couldn't do it on this side because the hair's covering it up. I'm sorry about the focus, but the hair's covering it up, so I couldn't do that on this side, but I could do it on this side here. And I really like the way it turned out. And it is actually a ring that I cut out and then cut pieces off of it, so that way I can fit one side on the outside of the ear and the other side on the inside of the ear, like behind it, and then glue it on that way, so it's not like this one and on the inside where it's flat on there. So it's actually glued on like an actual ear piercing, like an actual human being. You know, stuff like that. Use a little bit of epoxy sculpt to fill in some of the whole just gap of hair right here in this piece and make it look like the anime. A pale yellow color for the hair, same with the eyebrows, and that's about it. Again, flat finish for the skin because I've been doing that a long time. I did have a little bit of issue with that. The paint started coming off her nose and her lips when I was putting the flat finish on there, so it's not quite perfect up close, but from a distance it's not something that you can really tell. Alright, so that is it for Android 18. I really dig this build. Again, I made her bigger, as far as she's supposed to be pretty tall anyway, like 5'8", 5'7". She's definitely the tallest female amongst the regular cast of girls. But I made her fuller, a little curvier, a little thicker, just because I didn't want all of the girls to be super skinny, just to have some sort of variance with them. Whereas I suppose like Bulma would still be rather busty, you know, depending on, you know, at least for my build she will be, but she'll be thinner. Chi-Chi would be thinner, Kefla would be thinner, Kale would be thinner, Khalifa would be thinner, Videl would be thinner. You know, I didn't want everyone to be super skinny, so 18 and all versions of 18 that I make will be taller and a little fuller in the body. So that's it. Let me grab one more. Yeah, quick, right here. There's your comparison. I put her on this side. She might fall over though. I kind of have her displayed this way. There we go. So is your Android 21, your Android 18. I know the legs on this look terrible, and I want to fix them one day, but it's going to be a long time before I get around to it, to be honest with you. But I can't wait to make more from the series. Like I said, all of those girls I just named, I'm going to make them. I do want to make a 17 to go with 18. I don't want her to be by herself, so obviously I want 17 to go with this. I have to figure out the body mold and face and all that stuff that I want to do for 17 and then put them together, because I would love to see them on my shelf as something that I made. It'll be super cool. So anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Again, with 18, I will definitely make the other outfit that she has with the, I believe, like jeans and the white top with the other vest and all of that. And then she has like the pink jumpsuit from Dragon Ball Super, and I think she has like another outfit for the new movie superhero that's coming out, so I'll think about that as well. But in the very least, I want to do the pink jumpsuit from Super and then the other outfit from the Android Saga. So I can't wait to do those, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.